Today I'm going to talk to you about fertilizers. You know, on several occasions people have visited my garden and in its peak during the summer, and you know, I've had like 12 and 14 foot tall tomato plants, and they were like, good Lord, what kind of fertilizer do you use? And the answer to that is basically whatever I can get my hands on, and especially whatever I can buy on clearance in the dead of winter. I mean, that's the best time to buy fertilizer. And this last winter, I actually went to Home Depot in Decatur with my brother. We was in there to buy something, and I just happened to walk by this aisle, and I saw where they had a bunch of different organic fertilizer on clearance, and it was 75% off. Well, needless to say, I racked up. And I want to show you some of them. This one right here is, you know, the NPK value is the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. That's what your three numbers are that you see on the back of the label or whatever. But this one is 546. It's for organic gardening, tomato and vegetable plant food. And I've got another one right here. It's actually a Miracle Grow, and it's 341. And it says it's for organic and natural rose and flower plant food. You know, I don't care what it says it's for. I'm going to use it because I really like those first two numbers, the 3 and the 4. Those are perfect for tomatoes. So I'm going to use that. And I got another one right here that is purely organic products, tomato and vegetable plant food, and it's 888. So that's 8. And what that means is this entire bag, 8% of it is nitrogen, 8% is phosphorus, and 8% is potassium. So that's 24% of the bag. Now what's the rest of it? It's clay filters. Yeah, they're not going to give you the pure thing. You're paying for a bunch of just stuff you can't even use, but that's what you get when you buy fertilizer. Now these are entirely organic, and I will be using these to grow all of my organic lettuce and tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes, for the Bricks restaurant right here in Russellville, Alabama. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what these various fertilizers do, or what the nutrients do. You know, a plant needs 16 nutrients to thrive, and 3, of course, are major nutrients, and we've discussed them. It's the NPK, or the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And then there's 13 more that are micronutrients, and those are going to be like boron, iron, manganese, molybdenum, that's hard to say, stuff like that. And you know, those micronutrients, they're going to actually be in your native soil. You don't take those into consideration when you're shopping for a fertilizer. But I'm going to tell you what some of the major nutrients do. The nitrogen, plants use it to develop stocky stems and lush leaves. And you've got some plants that are considered heavy feeders, and those are going to be like potatoes and peppers, tomatoes, and especially corn. Corn is in the grass family. You literally, you can throw it to all the nitrogen you want. I mean, and that's why back in the day when you could get some real potent fertilizer, you know, they would really hammer it with some liquid nitrogen. Of course, you can't get that anymore. That was ammonium nitrate. You can't get that anymore, but you know, nitrogen, it's one of the big 3, and you have to be careful with it when growing certain plants. Take for instance a tomato. You know, when you're growing a tomato plant, you really hold back on the nitrogen. You want to have the nitrogen content of your fertilizer to be less than 10% until the first tomato forms and it gets to 1.5 inches in diameter. Once that happens, you can throw the nitrogen to it. I mean, you can go out and buy some Miracle Grow, which is like 24% nitrogen or something like that. If you do it too early, what you're going to end up with is a bush and no tomatoes. And you want to be cautious with it in the dead of summer, if you give it too much nitrogen, you actually promote blossom end rot, which is the black spot on the bottom of a tomato or a pepper or a watermelon. You know, it turns black and it just rots. That's a physiological disease. It's caused by the plant's roots aren't able to uptake calcium into the root mass. So if your nitrogen is too high in the middle of summer, it will actually enhance that problem. So that's nitrogen. Now phosphorus, it promotes root development, overall plant growth, and fruiting. And also, it's going to be the P value of your nitrogen, of your fertilizer. You have to be careful with phosphorus. When you throw a bunch of fertilizer out there, let's say it's AAA, and you water, as soon as you water it, the nitrogen, it like dissipates into the soil very, very quick. But the phosphorus, it gets bound up into the soil, and it stays there for a long time. So if you're adding like 888 or 13 every year to one location, sooner or later you're going to end up with way too much phosphorus, and your plants aren't going to do as good as you expect them to. And at that point, you're going to have to find you some way of fertilizing without the phosphorus being a factor. And of course, you can like add blood meal. Blood meal is 12% nitrogen. That's all it is straight nitrogen. You can add that for your nitrogen part. And there's other things you can add for your potassium, which I believe, I want to say that cottonseed meal is probably going to be in the potassium, but I'd have to research that. Anyway, phosphorus gets bound up in the soil, and you can end up with way too much really quick. So every 3 or 4 years, you need to rethink your fertilization process. All right, let's get to the next one. We've already covered the N and the P. Now let's talk about the K. The K is potassium. Potassium, sometimes people call it potash. It's going to provide plant vigor and strength, increases resistance to diseases, and helps plants tolerate heat and drought. Some people talk about taking their spent charcoal ashes and dumping them in the garden, and they'll till it in. Hey, you can do that. I mean, that is a source of potassium. But you have to be careful, because a lot of people don't realize that potassium, it raises your pH. You know, like I said, the perfect pH level for a plant to thrive typically is 6.0 to 6.5. And you got to be careful, because if you get outside of that range, I don't care how much fertilizer you throw at that plant, it cannot uptake those nutrients properly, and the plant will not thrive as you expect it to. So that's my discussion on fertilization. I hope that it was informational, and I hope it kind of enlightened you somewhat on your fertilization protocol. I'll be doing more videos. Maybe the next one I'll be talking about soils or something like that. I really don't know yet, but today I'm inside because it's really windy outside, and I figured the noise would be really loud on the microphone. But if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and what that's going to do is it's going to notify you of every time that I upload a video. It don't cost anything. It's just going to let you know when I upload a new video, and that way you can stay in touch and know exactly when I upload more. And I'm going to try to do like one a day, and it's going to be really strange later on. I'm going to do some weird videos on all kinds of stuff, like making wine and canning and building homemade planters outside and self-watering containers and stuff like that. So keep coming back. I'm going to share everything I got with you. See you next time.